Hey everyone, how's it going? Wonderful weather we're having today. Actually, it rained, so it wasn't that wonderful. Yeah, YouTube have added a new policy where you're not allowed to swear for the first 8 to 15 seconds of a video, otherwise it's gonna get demonetized. So, alright, so it seems that shit is already moving really motherfucking fast because we're already getting the news that we want to be hearing, and we're only the 3rd of January. I already made my video, The Year of Sonic Part 2, like a day ago, well, 2 days ago almost, and it seems shit is moving really quick, so we gotta talk about Daddy Quiche on Twitter, they're not letting him go, and we got some other shit we need to talk about with regards to Sega dropping the bombshells, okay? So we're gonna get into all this right now. But if you subscribe to the channel already, please make sure to subscribe. We are trying to hit 100,000 subscribers. So, let's start with the Daddy Key shit, and then we move on to the Sega 3D Sonic game shit. So, right, they're harassing Daddy Quiche on Twitter ever since the director of a Sonic game decided to create a public Twitter account. Bad idea, by the way. Bad idea. Sonic fans are like, oh, so we don't have to go and tweet at the regular Sonic the Hedgehog Twitter where all they do is post fucking memes and shit. No, we can go straight to the actual people who work on the game and harass them with their ideas. So this one's just asking, when are we getting the first update? Is it gonna be January or February? Like, and didn't even mention March or April or May. Like, they're just in a hurry. We want the Sonic now. Anyway, they ask about the Frontiers DLC, and they go and at the director of the game because, I mean, he's got nothing better to do, right? He's on Twitter, right? And then he responds, "It's currently in production. Please wait for a while for the schedule when we can deliver update 1 to everyone." So basically what he's saying is, shut the fuck up, stop at me with this bullshit. Okay, maybe a bit nicer version of that. Nonetheless, now someone else has gone and added their whole wish list about the story of Frontiers to Kishimoto, because again, Kishimoto's got nothing better to do, right? He's sitting on Twitter, so he's added him. I'll also go a little further into story feedback. The story and characters were very good, but some Sonic fans felt that the story was a little too melodramatic. Really? It's not that I didn't want a dramatic and sad story, but I felt uncomfortable with all the characters being sad. I'm not gonna read all this shit because it's some kid's wish list and I don't really care. But it's an interesting point, and eventually people are just like, man, let Kishimoto have a break, man. Like, you know, it's not that big of a deal. But Kishimoto does respond, if I believe somewhere down here, he's like, it's cool. What does he say? Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. On the contrary, I'm very grateful. As for the story, I feel there are some issues of how it should be in the 3rd generation, so I'll use it as a reference. Thank you very much. When he says 3rd generation, remember, he believes that the classic Sonic games like Generation 1, and then everything after that is Generation 2, which is bullshit. Adventure and Boost should be separated, but he considers all of that Generation 2, and then he considers Generation 3 to be the open zone shit. Again, that's fucking bullshit. The Adventure era is Generation 2. Boost should be Generation 3. We're now in Generation 4. Which even this still involves, or what's the word I'm looking for? Involves the boost, or the boost is part of this generation anyway, but it's still a different generation. It contains the boost. That's what I was looking for. I couldn't figure out the word. But yes, in reference to this point, is the story too melodramatic? What is the meaning of melodramatic? It means relating to melodrama, being exaggerated or over emotional. Yes, it was. Okay, it really was. But that doesn't mean we want things to be lighthearted, meta-erical bullshit, right? It just means that it was a bit melodramatic. Even Unleashed story at times could be a bit overdramatic, but I still preferred it in Unleashed compared to here. For, well, major reason being that the voice acting was better. Like, that's one big reason. And another reason just being, I just felt like it was just overall executed better. Like, I didn't like the idea of Frontiers where it's like, the whole island you're basically talking to one person. It's like, okay, so this whole island I'm talking to Amy. The whole next island I'm talking to Knuckles. Or the whole next island I'm talking to Tails. I'm like, how long do I need to talk to the bitch boy? Okay, I mean, there was a bit of Sage and a little bit of Eggman, but yeah, it wasn't as action-packed. Like, when you think of like iconic Sonic stories, you think of like the adventure games, like SA1, SA2, and they had these intense scenes. Even 06, you had these like, when Silver tried to kill Sonic and Amy was doing the absolutely no, you had those scenes that stood out, that made everything like really engaging and interesting. Like SA2, you had the Faker scene, you know, SA1, the oh no with the Knuckles and the way to go Knucklehead. Like, there were scenes that stood out. Whereas Frontiers, everything's just a big fucking drama. Like, I'm sitting here, standing around talking to Amy, standing around talking, like, I don't give a fuck. Okay, seriously, I really don't. That's why Frontiers story just wasn't hitting for me like that, combined with the voice acting. But again, Adding Kishimoto with all your wish list is not going to do shit, okay? I'm not saying he's not taking people's advice into consideration, but eventually he's just going to be like, yes, thank you for the feedback, and then do what the fuck he was going to do anyway. So, at some point, you're just going to have to be like, let's not add him with every single thing, okay? Or maybe he needs to figure out that he needs to private his account, because Twitter's only going to get worse. It's only going to go downhill from here. Anyway, speaking of Twitter, Go Nintendo Tweet has tweeted, Sega job listing hits at a new Mario and Sonic Olympic game. We go here, off to the races once more. Sega and Nintendo have quite a successful history of teaming up for Olympic-themed games starring various Mario and Sonic characters. While we haven't heard an official announcement about a new installment, a Sega job listing certainly seems to hint that one is on the way. A recent Sega job listing is looking to hire someone with experience in Unreal Engine 4, along with experience in working on action games. Work with online gaming and experience in platforms like basically all the current platforms is also a plus. Most importantly, the job listing says that this game will be tied to the Sonic series and the Olympics as well, with links to the official websites for Sonic and Olympic video games. If that's not a confirmation of a new Mario and Sonic Olympic games, we don't know what is. So we can look at the job listing here. It's been translated to English. It says you'll be responsible for programming work for the development of home video game titles using in-house engines or Unity Unreal Engine. So they're in-house engines like Hedgehog Engine, whatnot, and then they added Unity Unreal Engine as well. Depending on the specifications and yada yada yada, you'll be able to communicate and solve problems / issues regardless of your occupation. Those who have experience as a leader will initially start working as a high-level engineer, will be appointed as a leader after understanding the internal development flow, aka crunch. Various system designs to control yada yada yada, so implementing, this is the stuff that you care about if you actually want the job. This is the work location over here. And the requirements is you gotta have practical experience in C++, basic knowledge of 3D game development, experience in developing high-end titles, such as PS4, Xbox One or higher, Switch, PC, communicate widely and solve problems, ability to act, okay, that's some bad translation, but yeah, welcome skills, so shit that they want you to have, but it's not required, Unreal Engine 4 experience, active game development experience, network game production experience, P2P or peer-to-peer online battles, basic knowledge of 3D math and physics. I mean, you should really have that. Program leader experience, and they want you for full time. Now, what they were talking about in the Go Nintendo tweet is that, oh yeah, I think that's the salary, 4 million to 9 million yen. Huh, what is that? 4 million to 9 million yen. I'm actually kind of curious now. How much is that in like pounds? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 25K? Let me see, 9 million yen. 57. I mean, okay, it's not bad. I mean, 57K a year, especially if that's after tax. I mean, I could live with that. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Anyway, yes, they say if you look over here, you see they link two things because it says assumed title Sonic series. So we know it's for Sonic. They're looking for game developers for Sonic. They link two things. This is the Sonic channel on the Sonic Sega Japan website, and then Olympic video games. So you can see this is the first link. So you can see the Sonic channel that's showing all the recent shit that's happened, like Origins and, you know, or not what I just clicked, but Origins, Frontiers, you know, movie, like the recent shit. You can see the recent shit here, and you can see the Olympic game there, and the other link goes to this Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games website. So basically they're hinting at that Olympic game. But I don't think it's just an Olympic game, right? Because the fact that they're mentioning so many different languages, they're mentioning in-house engine as well as Unity and Unreal. They're not making the Olympic game in multiple different engines like that, like Unity, Unreal, multiple different. They're probably using one. So the reason why they will link both the Olympics and the Sonic website is probably because it could be more than one thing. Like maybe some of you will work on the Olympic games, right? And some of you are going to work on whatever the next 3D Sonic game is, right? Because, I mean, obviously they're working on the Frontiers DLC right now, so they're going to have developers on that. But then they're also going to have people working on the next 3D Sonic game on the side, even though they're still working on Frontiers DLC. And then they'll probably also have a bunch of people in Sega working on the Olympic game, right? And then they'll probably also have some people working on the rumored modern 2D game, which I did talk about again in the previous video, so you can check that out. Or you can check that out, I've already made the video. But yes, the last Olympic game was obviously 2020, I believe. It says 2019 is when it came out. I think they had a phone version as well, which I tried out, but it was mid as fuck. But nonetheless, man, I hope it's more than just the Olympic game, because the Olympic game is cool, but it's not really what I'm here for. But if it is the next 3D Sonic game, we're not gonna hear much about it for a while because I mean this year we got to focus on the DLC. Hopefully the modern 2D game. We want to see that shit. But we know that this is something to do with 3D Sonic, and the Olympic Games is definitely a likely contender for this shit. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about all of this. What do you think about Kishimoto telling people to just wait? And we'll tell you when Update 1 is coming. Or, you know, people just harassing him with their Sonic Dream wish list and whatever the fuck. And how do you feel about this, you know, Sega, you know, job application to work for 3D Sonic games and Unity and whatnot? What do you think it's for? Do you think it's just for the Olympic game? Do you think it's for some additional shit as well? And of course, a big shout out to all my channel members. If you want to become a channel member, you can click the join button next to the subscribe button. BMH subscribe, hit that bell. Make sure to check out the non-Sonic channel. The link will be in the description. But that's all I have to say right now. So, Remy out.